Stunning Corinne Wall, American model and actress, 1975. Charming Maria Whittaker in yellow swimsuit, 1988. Christmas 1957. Having seen the boy toys at Kermie and Janet's house in Baltimore, we now move on to the girl gifts, which include Little Miss Revlon and Betsy McCall dolls, as well as a fun with needlepoint kit. Make your own horse. What else do we recognize here? Christmas 1957 is the label on this slide from the Kermie and Janet Kodachromes, taken at their house in Baltimore. Gifts include a Revell model aircraft carrier and something called the shopping center game. December 1953. Outdoor Christmas decorations. From around 1953 comes this color transparency, possibly shot by Charlotte Brooks for the Look magazine assignment. Christmas toys. December 1921. Christmas tree. Dr. Julio Bianchi, Guatemalan minister in Washington during the Herrera regime. New Zealand circa 1910. Studio portrait, young woman in Christmas tree fancy dress and hat costume, with little presents and decorations hanging off her. Christchurch. Washington, D.C., circa 1910. Harris, Martha. Christmas tree. (1952). Entertainer Gene Kelly executing leap over film cans labeled with titles of his movies. October 1943. Washington, D.C. A mechanical drawing class at Woodrow Wilson High School. Dr. Grace Hopper, Director, Systems Research, Remington Rand, half-length portrait, seated, smoking cigarette. New York, 1902. Scene from Little Italy showing Minnie Madern Fisk on bed, Frederick de Belleville kneeling, Claus Bogel seated with head bowed, and group of people in doorway. August 4th, 1960. Family and mourners at the Arlington National Cemetery burial of Willard G. Palm, RB-47 reconnaissance airplane pilot shot down by the Russians. October 1943. Washington, D.C. Sally D says talking with some friends near her locker at Woodrow Wilson High School. The Jersey Shore circa 1904. Young's Hotel and Boardwalk, Atlantic City. San Francisco. Corner of Montgomery and Market Streets, Monday morning, after Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. March 1942. Virginia Beach, Virginia. Fort Story Coast Defense. A tough job for soldiers is shoving the breech block of the giant howitzer into place. Circa 1900. Ostrich Farm, Hot Springs, Arkansas. Careful, these birds are dangerous. Circa 1942, in the vicinity of Washington, D.C. Conservation of fuel oil. Washington, D.C., circa 1925. Family group listening to radio. A baseball game, maybe? October 1939. On US 99 as it continues through Oregon. Lane County, Willamette Valley. Circa 1904. Virginia Avenue, Atlantic City, New Jersey. May 1940. Cotton Carnival, Memphis, Tennessee. Waiting for her royal crown. February 1942. Madison, Wisconsin Farm Short Course School at the University of Wisconsin. This class in rural society often practices square dances. Interest in rural culture and customs is stimulated at the school. April 23, 1926. Washington, D.C. Miss Dorothy Tierney with Porcupine. Boston, Massachusetts, circa 1895. Main entrance, Boston Public Library. Read all over. (1966) To the rescue. Many librarians believe computers are the only means to effectively cope with their bulging bookshelves. November 1909. These boys work off and on in Cumberland Glass Works, Bridgeton, New Jersey. Smallest boy is George Cartwright, 401 North Laurel Street. He says been working off and on since 11 years old. May 15, 1951. Johnson Johnson Research Center, New Brunswick, New Jersey. Organic Laboratory. November 1952. A pep talk from Coach. Hamlet, North Carolina, high school football team in locker room at away game. Circa 1905. St. Mary's Canal Celebration Excursion Steamer Fortune in Whitesell Lock, Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. The Enchanting Jules Shepherd, 1979. January 27, 1959. Washington, D.C. Women working at the U.S. Capitol switchboard. An average of 50,000 calls are placed through the board daily. December 1st, 1951. Shopping Center, Great Neck, Long Island, New York. Wanamakers. July 1942. East Montpelier, Vermont. The Charles Ormsby family and his widowed mother, Mrs. Myrtle Ormsby, at dinner. Summer 1941. Detroit, Michigan. Girls playing cards and drinking Coca-Cola. Washington, D.C., circa 1925. Merchants Bank Building, G Street, NWGG Lowler Company. February 1939. Bankhead Farms, Alabama. A homesteader with some of the baby chicks he is raising. Laconia, New Hampshire, circa 1907. Pleasant and Main Streets. January 1943. New York. Italian-American firemen giving pint of blood to the Red Cross. April 1943. Baltimore, Maryland. Trolley leaving the terminal at night. October 27, 1917. Western Front, Belgium. Ypres area, an observation balloon about to ascend. Washington, D.C., circa 1918. He photographer. Circa 1921 in New York, the British pianist and conductor Ethel Legінська. March 1943. On the Atchison, Topeka Santa Fe between Chicago and Chillicothe, Illinois. New Zealand circa 1905. Unidentified group having a picnic outside tent and backyard of house, probably Christchurch district. New York, May 15, 1929. Fernandez, Marcelino, Mr. and Mrs. Shaw and Knott. Spring 1942. Little girl on a farm in Maryland, learning to eat vitamins. Balanced meal on the table of a Farm Security Administration client in Calvert County. Bonus photo for you, a beautiful retro woman. Pamela Green, English glamour model, 1953. Charming Gail McKenna in black bikini, 1988. (1953). Marilyn Monroe enacting a scene from the motion picture How to Marry a Millionaire. January 17, 1956. Raymond Loewy's Jaguar car. Number 8. Publicity photo from late 1950 for the Kaiser. Henry J. A small car, named after company chairman Henry J. Kaiser, that was a few years ahead of its time. Spring 1960. Efforts of John F. Kennedy's campaign team, including members of his family, in West Virginia during Kennedy's quest for the 1960 Democratic presidential nomination. Includes Brother Bob at a drive-in in Bluefield. November 1942. Babies Hospital, New York. The welfare of this young patient, suffering from burns, is aided by having his bed placed near a window where he can watch the boats pass by. September 10, 1942, somewhere in Australia. American soldier at advanced Allied base with his pet kangaroo. November 1942. Babies Hospital, New York. Care of prematurely born babies is one of the most complicated procedures which must be learned by the student nurse. March 1943. New Orleans oil truck. Note the wings atop the tank. Circa 1943. Civilian defense in the United States. Blackout measures. New Zealand circa 1958. Men's underwear being modeled, photographed by Key Niven Company of Wellington. Fall 1942. War production drive. Anthracite rallies. Jeep headlights form V for victory at the night rally for Pennsylvania anthracite miners in Wilkes-Barre on September 29. Similar rallies were held in other anthracite cities from September 28 through October 1. October 1941. Main store. Fort Hunter, New York. Still on tap, some of that new spring mobile gas. July 1909. Mrs. Bissy and family, Polish. Bottomley Farm, Rock Creek. They all work in the berry fields near Baltimore in summer and have worked at Biloxi, Mississippi, for 2 years. Washington, D.C., circa 1917. Hotel Harrington, 11th and ESDSNW. Circa 1907. Main Street, Rochester, New York. At left, the renowned Hotel Eggleston. Circa 1953. Actress Audrey Hepburn with Dining Companion in Mexico. December 1942. Mary Miller, operator of a router at the Boeing plant in Seattle, drills holes in a part for a new B-17F Flying Fortress bomber. Elson Chemist and Dutton Bookshop on Courtney Place, Wellington, between 1896 and 1897. New Jersey circa 1905. The Boardwalk, Asbury Park. Washington, D.C. Babies 1927. Today only 2 for 1. It's getting so hot in here. Summer 1941. Detroit, Michigan. Girls playing cards and drinking Coca-Cola. September 1942. Tires need checking too? Shifting trends of employment in wartime America have opened up new jobs for women such as this young East Liverpool, Ohio, girl who has pioneered in 2 new fields since graduation from high school. July 1942. These high school boys constructed this trainer plane, and the young man holding the stick is operating it. Note the instruments and control board. This is one phase of the aviation course offered boys at the Wequahic High School in Newark, New Jersey. Washington, D.C., or vicinity circa 1917. Gash, Stull Company, Bright Shepherd job. (1949). The mid-century look is now the American look. Photographs show people who personify the American look. 19-year-old fashion model and Clem is shown at work and at leisure. Circa 1910. Bathing at the Old Club, St. Clair Flats, Michigan. Circa 1962. Dulles International Airport, Chantilly, Virginia, 1958-63. Eero Saarinen architect. Control tower interior. A 1970s hottie, no caption, photo shoot in an adorable outfit. Washington, D.C., 1924. Ford Motor Company Manhattan laundry trucks. November 1942. Salt Lake City, Utah. Training women to operate buses and taxi cabs. Fall 1960. A Kodachrome by our old friend Arthur Rothstein, taken for the Look magazine assignment. Tailgate gourmets. Food for tailgate picnics displayed in the backs of station wagons. Circa 1905. Lower Genesee Street, Utica, New York. July 1939. Activity around Station Master's Shack. Streetcar Terminal, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. May 1942. Southington, Connecticut, amusement park, with a dress code. June 1943. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Miss Frances Heisler, last seen here, attendant at one of the Atlantic Refining Company garages. She was formerly a clerk in the payroll department of the Curtis Publishing Company. Circa 1940, somewhere on the high seas. Boxing match in progress on the deck of New Zealand troopship Dominion Monarch, carrying second echelon 4th reinforcements to the United Kingdom. Probably Empress of Russia seen sailing in the background. Jacqueline Bouvier Kennedy, 1957. Wife of the up-and-coming young senator from Massachusetts. Circa 1908. Allen House, Hartford, Connecticut. At the drug store, egg drinks and college ices. Maryland, circa 1948. Acme Market. Four Corners Woodmore Shopping Center, Colesville Pike and Old Bladensburg Road. Schreier Patterson Architects. New York, circa 1919. Homer. The Metropolitan Opera contralto Louise Homer, and of Samuel Barber, and two of her 6 children with the composer Sidney Homer. June 1943. Washington, D.C. Muriel Pear, a switching clerk at the Western Union Telegraph Office. Washington, D.C., circa 1922. Boy and Dog. Feel free to construct your own narrative. The Acme Supermarket at Wright. Silver Spring, Maryland, circa 1948. Acme Market. Four Corners Woodmore Shopping Center, Colesville Pike and Old Bladensburg Road. Schreier Patterson Architects. Circa 1900. St. Paul's Episcopal Cathedral, Buffalo, New York. With the Guarantee, Prudential, building and a bicycle repair shop as neighbors. February 1942. Detroit, Michigan. Riot at the Sojourner Truth Homes, a new U.S. federal housing project, caused by white neighbors' attempt to prevent Negro tenants from moving in. Vans convoyed by police department moving Negroes' furniture. 1939, Mobile, Alabama. Collins Store, Royal Street near St. Louis Street. The Panama Cafe looks like our kind of place. Note the Dr. Pepper truck in the alley. September 12, 1953. Newport, Rhode Island. Kennedy wedding, Jacqueline Kennedy throwing the bouquet. November 1913. Fort Worth, Texas. Some results of messenger and newsboy work. For 9 years this 16-year-old boy has been newsboy and messenger for drug stores and telegraph companies. November 1942. Nurses in training. Babies Hospital, New York. A graduate nurse, Wright, watches student Susan Petty prepare a hypodermic for a patient. Strict adherence to doctor's orders is something every probationer must learn. April 12, 1929. King Tut, President Hoover's big German police dog, now makes the rounds of the sentry boxes in the White House grounds through the night. He is shown with W.S. Newton of the White House Police. The Hudson River circa 1908. Steamer landings, Poughkeepsie, New York. Circa 1921 in New York, the British pianist and conductor Ethel Legінська, who achieved a dubious renown for skipping out on her concert performances, including a memorable non-appearance at Carnegie Hall. November 22, 1963. Overview of crowds of people waving as President John F. Kennedy and his wife sit in back of limousine during procession through downtown Dallas, Texas. Texas Governor John Connally and his wife ride in the limousine's jump seats. Bonus photo for you, a beautiful retro woman. Serena Grandi is an Italian actress and sex symbol of the 1980s and 1990s. Photo 1983. Stunning model Samantha Fox 1989. Photo from the 80s aerobics series, The Girl Without a Caption. Summer 1938. Daughter of Virgil Thaxton, farmer near Mechanicsburg, Ohio. February 1922. Woman on sled being pulled by biplane in snow, with Washington Monument in background. January 28, 1922. Snow, Washington, D.C. A frosty Ford Model T during the blizzard of 1922. New York, February 1952. Your Show of Shows comedian Sid Caesar and Imogene Coca doing a skit about a couple watching the Continental Dot. January 1937. Migrant agricultural workers. Family from New Mexico, camped near the packing house at Deerfield, Florida. Note the box labeled Yakima apples, which has been carried all the way from the apple orchards of Washington. June 1943. Washington, D.C. pasting up a telegram at the Western Union Telegraph Office. Doris and Dorothy Bell send and receive telegrams from the Baltimore Circuit. New York circa 1910. Broadway and Hotel Victoria. April 1952. Actress Audrey Hepburn experimenting with various hairstyles, wigs, and makeup for film Roman Holiday. Circa 1920s. Men building sand castle and two unidentified women. Long Beach, New York. March 1943. Acomita, New Mexico. Brakeman Ari Capsi repacking a journal box of a special car as the train on the Atchison, Topeka Santa Fe Railroad between Belen and Gallup, New Mexico, waits on a siding. June 24, 1938. Shirley sees her old friend the President. Shirley Temple leaving the White House today after a very important conference with the President. Shirley told Mr. Roosevelt about losing a tooth last night, and he told her about Sis Di and Buzzy losing their teeth. July 1920. Washington, D.C. Dr. H.B. Bradford. Professor Harry Bradford. Naturalist and animal artist. According to the Washington Post, was also, in 1910, president of the Anti-Vaccination Society of the District of Columbia. 1904. Main Street, Dayton, Ohio, home of the Tooth Tower. January 19, 1951. Common accidents in the home? A sentiment open to a number of interpretations. December 1941. Washington, D.C. Girls in Hot Shops Restaurant. July 1937. Georgia Road sign. Photo by Dorothea Lange, who seems to have appreciated quirky signs. Circa 1910. Chester Cathedral, England. Major construction 11th to 15th century. February 1911. Bayou La Battery, Alabama. Little Julie attending the baby at home. All the older ones are at the factory. She shucks oysters also. Alabama Canning Company. March 1943. Conductor George E. Burton having lunch in the caboose on the Atchison, Topeka Santa Fe between Chicago and Chillicothe. January 29, 1922. Washington, D.C. Knickerbocker after collapse. Aftermath of the Knickerbocker Theater disaster, in which the snow-laden roof of Harry Crandall's cinema at Columbia Road and 18th Street caved in, killing 98 moviegoers. 1951. Santa Barbara, California. Lana Turner by pool at the Coral Casino. September 1942. Manpower. Americans All. Husky, bright-eyed Joe Gore Jr. is a young American of Polish descent who is determined that Hitler shall be driven from Poland and kept from America's shores. Canal Street in New Orleans circa 1910. Large building is the Maison Blanche department store. October 1942. High School Victory Corps. The Fireman's Carry. Method of carrying a wounded comrade is shown here by boys in the commando course of the physical education program at Flushing High School, Queens, New York. May 1936, somewhere in Indiana. Auto transport at gas station. Charming Jacqueline Sheen, 1985. July 31st, 1922. Laurel, Maryland. Two BO freights wrecked in head-on crash at Laurel Switch. December 1942. Armed guard at a copper smelter of the Phelps Dodge Mining Company at Morenci, Arizona. This plant is supplying great quantities of the copper so vital in our war effort. Circa 1910. Beach Street, Manchester, New Hampshire. Washington, D.C., 1920. Potomac Sales Company front. Adding to the scant contemporary documentation of the Dixie Flyer, one of many assembled cars from the early years of motoring. July 1957. Actor James Arness filming on location for the television series Gunsmoke. January 1943. New York. 16-year-old boy who is in the Naval Reserve on Mulberry Street. Hans Coliseum, interior. A flag-bedecked footwear sale held by the Hans chain of shoe stores at Washington, D.C. Center Market in July 1920. Circa 1890s 1900. Beach and Ladies Bathing Place, Margate, England. Circa 1910. RR Station at Manchester, New Hampshire. Washington, D.C., 1921. Potomac Sales Company, Rec. Just up the alley from P. McEwen, Horse Shore. March 1943. View from Caboose on the Atchison, Topeka Santa Fe Railroad between Belen and Gallup, New Mexico. January 1959. Majority of photographs concern Dr. John O. Brown, Negro ophthalmologist, and his family, and depicts various forms of racial segregation and integration in Miami. May 1943. Clinton, Iowa. Women wipers of the Chicago Northwestern Railroad going out to work on an engine at the roundhouse. (1913) Annapolis, Maryland. U.S. Naval Academy football team. (1913) Annapolis, Maryland. U.S. Naval Academy football team. F Street Northwest in Washington, D.C., circa 1906. New York, circa 1931. R.H. Macy Company. Building Broadway 34th Street. The original big box retailer. Washington, D.C., circa 1925. Federal Clothing Store, 621 7th Street Northwest. March 1936. Low-cost housing. St. Louis, Missouri. Cigars and Coke not included. Circa 1910. Coal barges at confluence of Allegheny and Monongahela rivers at Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. January 1922. Washington, D.C. Man in three-wheeled vehicle. Bonus photo for you, a beautiful retro woman. Beautiful Samantha Strong 1988. Photo shoot in beautiful lingerie. Bonus photo for you, a beautiful retro woman. Bonus photo for you, a beautiful retro woman. Stunning Linda Lusardi, 1978. Charming Natalie Banas, 1989. From the Linda Kodachromes, circa 1950s, somewhere in New England. A place at the table, just for you. Gravy, anyone? New York, December 1913. Christmas tree, Madison Square. December 1942. New York. R.H. Macy Company Department Store the week before Christmas. Children line up to talk with Santa Claus. December 1953. Continuing the Look magazine series. Night photographs of houses decorated for Christmas. You know what they say about people who live in glass houses, they don't throw Christmas parties. Pennsylvania, circa 1958. This little boy was evidently on the nice list. From around 1953, in a bathroom somewhere in New England, comes this curious Kodachrome that your webmaster found on eBay. From the Linda Kodachromes comes this unlabeled slide of posters for the school Christmas play on December 16th, so get your tickets soon. 1957. June 1951. Actress Lana Turner lunching poolside at the Coral Casino in Santa Barbara, California. October 1943. Washington, D.C. Servicemen and girl at a party. Dickey Christmas Tree, 1918. Spring 1942. Detroit. Fashion show presented by the Chrysler Girls Club of the Chrysler Corporation at Saks Fifth Avenue store. Girl modeling a corselet. November 24, 1924. Washington, D.C. Bonus Bureau Examining Division. The bonus was a benefit granted to World War I veterans by the World War Adjusted Compensation Act of 1924. Circa 1942. U.S. Navy inflatable raft. Just add water. The Knoxville, Tennessee, courthouse circa 1903, with signage advising, "Keep off the grass, no loafing, drink Hickman's coffee," and "Chew ram's horn tobacco." January 1943. Information room at the Union Station, Chicago. No slapdash campsite for these circa 1910 New Zealand outdoorsmen. Unidentified men sitting between two open tents. Washington, D.C., circa 1926. Dog cemetery. Intimations of canine mortality. March 1937. Migrant children from Oklahoma on California highway. Annapolis, Maryland, circa 1892. Class of 92, U.S. Naval Academy. October 1943. Washington, D.C. Demonstration of the correct procedure in applying street makeup. Home management class at Woodrow Wilson High School. December 1st, 1951. Shopping Center, Great Neck, Long Island, New York. Wanamakers. Lathrop Douglas, architect. Coney Island circa 1905. Night in Luna Park. What hath Edison wrought? January 1939. Grocery store in Negro section. Homestead, Florida. December 1942. Part of the copper concentrating plant of the Phelps Dodge Mining Company at Morenci, Arizona. This plant supplies great quantities of the copper so vital in our war effort. June 1956. Aspects of life in Southern California, including cars at drive-in restaurant, drive-in laundromat, drive-up bank, shopping center. June 1956. Aspects of life in Southern California, including cars at drive-in restaurant, drive-in laundromat, drive-up bank, shopping center. June 17, 1922. Washington at Club Bathing Costume Contest at Tidal Basin. Lake Erie circa 1900. Unloading ore at Conneaut, Ohio. Brown conveying hoists. June 1942. Washington, D.C. U.S. Office of Defense Transportation System of Port Control and its Traffic Channel Control. February 1957. U.S. Klan's Imperial Wizard Eldon Edwards posed in his official robes at home. May 16, 1938. National Airmail Week essay winners at Washington Airport. New Zealand circa 1935. Milk bar at the Opera House, Manor Street, Wellington. Next door to Plaza Theatre. March 19, 1942, in the birthplace of the transistor. Bell Telephone Laboratories, Murray Hill, New Jersey. Drafting room. Voorhees, Walker, Foley Smith, architect. February 1942. Portrait of a mistreated vacuum cleaner. It's in the repair shop because it inhaled bits of metal, pieces of wire, hairpins, and other harmful objects. The Enchanting Linda Carter, 1979. (1958). Photos show life in Texas. Coverage is broad. Among the many subjects covered are ranching, rodeos, the Texas State Fair. Circa 1926. Mrs. J. Whitcomb, official car, Lee Highway Association, cross-continent trip, at White House. August 1942. Testing small diameter, high-speed twist drills. These women employed by Republic Drill Tool, Chicago, roll the drills down a slight incline to determine regularity of diameter. Summer 1963. Julie Andrews on the set of the film Mary Poppins. Washington, D.C., 1914. Alley clearance slum views. Familiar fixtures from a century ago include the gas lamp, maple-style phone pole and a turnbuckle star. Colorado circa 1900. In the Royal Gorge, Arkansas River, Rio Grande Southern Railway. New Zealand circa 1910. Grouped men outside a tent with a sign reading the Gaiety Camp, showing each man performing domestic duties. Probably Christchurch district. Crockett, California, circa 1915. South view of refinery and entrance to Loring Avenue. May 1942. Southington, Connecticut, where Southington folk buy their magazines. Washington, D.C., 1920. National Radio School. April 30th, 1952. Great Neck Shopping Center, Great Neck, Long Island. Lathrop Douglas, architect. Circa 1901. The Islesworth and Virginia Avenue, Atlantic City. Bonus photo for you, a beautiful retro woman. Tracy Lords, American model, 1988. This is the end of our performance. We hope you enjoyed it and appreciate our work. See you in the next performance. Have a good day.